All right, so if you're a gospel or Christian bass player and you struggle with speed, you struggle with dexterity, you struggle with maybe hand fatigue, that kind of thing, let me set it up for you. You're in a service, they start off a song. The song is kind of mid-tempo, maybe pretty fast, that kind of thing. First 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes of the song, you're cool. Maybe you've played this song, maybe you've played another song back to back to this song, so you probably got about 10, 15 minutes in on playing, and you notice your hands are starting to get tired, and you're not playing as fluid as you would like to play. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you some things you can start to do to help with that, and also to build overall speed, dexterity, and all of the above, so stay tuned. All right, so jumping right into this lesson, one of the common questions I'm often asked by different bass players is, how do I build my speed? And don't get me wrong, I know most cats aren't looking to become solo bass players, but it's one of those things I just want to have it to pull out. You know, if I had it, then it's there. So whenever I need it, I can access it, that type of thing. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Myself, I am a solo player, and I do enjoy playing bass solos and that type of thing. But it's all the same when it comes down to the dexterity of it all and developing the speed. Even myself, I struggled with when I stepped away from bass for a while, and I had to come back and start playing on Sundays for different churches or whatever the case may be. When I got in there and I started playing for a while, my hands began to get tired and that type of thing. And I realized you fell off from your warm-ups and that type of thing. So in this video, what I want to do is I want to show you a few warm-ups and exercises and some things you can do to continue to keep up that dexterity and those types of things. So when you do play, it's there. Your hands, the motion, the dexterity, all of it is there. The speed, everything you need, it's there. You might get a little tired, but nowhere close to something that you might have been experiencing already. All right, so let's jump into the first thing. First things first, I want to tell you, you want to spend about 10 minutes in your practice time warming up. This is at home on your own when you're practicing. This is when you have a gig. This is when you have a studio session, whatever it is. Spend about 10 minutes warming your hands up. Anybody that's been playing for a while, they can tell you this is pretty much standard stuff. You want to warm up your hands. And I notice so many musicians who just, come into church or something, you're running late, you get your bass out and you just plug up and you're ready to play. All right, what song we doing first? All right, let's go. And so you haven't had a chance to really warm your hands up. First things first, it's going to require you to get there early, especially when it comes to your church service. So you have this time to relax and, warm your hands up. So these are some things that I typically like to do when I first pick up the bass and I have a minute to sit down and really get the fingers going, get the juices, so to speak, to flowing in my hands. So something that I like to do, there's a couple of things. One of the things I do is I take this chromatic exercise. And if you're part of JermaineMorgan.net, my monthly membership, you've probably ran across this lesson for exercises. I'm going to show you guys here again. So what it is, we just take something simple like A, the key of A. So I'm on a 5-string bass, obviously, so we won't be paying attention to this B string right now for this exercise. But I'll take something simple like just a chromatic. And chromatic means we're simply including all of the notes. And what it is, this 4-finger pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, starting on A. Then we'll go up a string, shift over, 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing, up a string, shift over. Same thing, up a string, right? That's the first half of it. So all of that together. Right? And then when I get ready to descend with that same thing, I stop here, as you can see on that C. I'm going to shift over 1, and then I'm going to descend and do everything backwards, coming back up. And then I go back down to the A. So what that sounds like in context, and I'll do it really, really slow. And this is the type of exercise you definitely want to do with a metronome. I don't have my metronome with me right now, but typically I will start my metronome really, really slow, and just I'm focusing on all these different things you'll see me mention towards the end. I'm focusing on accuracy. I'm focusing on clarity. And again, once you get it up under your hands, you can start doing it a lot faster. But I'll start initially to get up under my hands. I'll start really, really slow. So again. Right? And I'll keep shifting that same pattern. I'll go up to A, I'll go up to B flat and do the same thing. So right out of A, after I shift, I'll come back to B flat and do the same thing up. So in context, it looks like this. Two, three, four. Two, three, four. And I'm taking it slow for now, but typically when I'm doing it pretty fast, because again, I'm taking those first 10 minutes of me being wherever I'm at and just kind of using that first 10 minutes to warm up my hands, because it's much faster than this. And again, this is working on endurance. And I'll keep doing something like this. Here's the second thing that I'll do. Now you can take that exercise, you can carry it all the way up the fretboard. With all of these exercises, start slow, work your way up, get as fast as you can take it. What I typically like to do, just say if I max out, my max speed is, let's say 140. If that's my max speed, then I'll take it down. If my max speed, I'm sounding a little sloppy, then I'll take it back down to something like 120. Usually, because you maxed out at 140, when you go back down to 120 or something like that, whatever your max speed is, it's pretty clean, like 20 clicks down. So from that 20 clicks down, I'll start working at that speed, trying to clean it back up, going up. And if you notice, when you do that exercise, you're able to push a little bit further, maybe not go 10 clicks this time. You can go, if your max was 140 and it was a little trashy, and you go down to 120 and start building it back up. By this time, when you work back from 120 and work your way back up, you can kind of max out at a little higher speed. Now you're at 145. Now you want to push it a little further. Now you're at 150. Maybe 150 is a little funky. So now you take it back down. Okay, I'm going to go 135 this time. And you play that game. And so it's like you're pushing your boundaries each time you do that. So now you go. And so those types of exercises help you to, again, warm up the fingers, get the blood flowing, but you want to keep it going. Now, one similar to this, that helps you to move up and down the fretboard, get some motion going as far as, waking that hand up, moving up and down that fretboard, getting comfortable with shifting. Now, one that I also like to do, it's a little bit more stationary, but you're still moving the fingers and getting some blood flowing. One I like to do is pretty similar, but we just go straight vertical, and we just keep it like that. Of course, it's much cleaner than that. And the point here with this one is to not stop. You keep that click going. So if you have it there for battered. You just keep it going. Now that's at one tempo. Now we can pick that up a good bit and start working that same thing. This time let's start with G, because the closer we get to that head or the neck, whatever, top of the neck, it's way more space. So you got to open those hands up a little wider. You got to work a little harder, but it's going to build up that endurance as well. So again, we 2, 3, 4. And notice when you're doing this, because I had some notes in there. It was like hammer-ons, and I wasn't necessarily playing them. Make mental notes as you're going along. You want to make sure you're making these mental notes, catching your mistakes if there be any. Okay, I kind of missed that one. That one wasn't as clean. Let me clean it up. Make all those mental notes. You're not just mindlessly doing this. This is right now, it's not a mindless activity. I'm trying to pay attention. I'm working on clarity. I'm working on speed, endurance, because 10 minutes of doing just those two exercises alone, that's going to wake your hands up a lot more. You're going to have a lot of fluidity because you're working on each finger and you're paying attention to how you're playing each one of those notes. Notice with this particular exercise that I'm doing, all of the notes are pretty even. I'm not accenting anything. It's just straight even. I'm just trying to get the fingers moving. Now, one of the things that you can do is start adding accents to whatever note that you choose in this. And I would start alternating once you start adding the accents to it. So for instance, if I wanted to play the same exercise and add accents to, like, let's say on the fourth note. So it's going to make you think a little bit more, but you're working on control and all those different things. And don't worry if it sounds bad. I had a friend of mine, I was in a music workshop this weekend, and a good friend of mine was doing it with me. He was like, if your practice sounds good, clean, and polished, then you're probably not practicing. You probably just going over something that you already know really, really well. But when you're practicing, you're going to hear the mistakes. You're going to hear the flubs and all that kind of stuff. Everything is not supposed to be polished. So those two exercises right there alone are some that you can do and work on them at really different speeds. And it's going to help. If you sit there, let's say if you take the chromatic one and you spend 5 minutes with the chromatic exercise, and then you spend the other 5 minutes with the just straight vertical, each one of those, and adding the accents and stuff as you go, working on the speeds. The biggest thing is in that 10-minute window, don't take long breaks. Like, stay at it, stay consistent. So if you could just sit there and just do that for 10 minutes. And you don't have to be plugged up while you're doing this. You could sit there, in your seat waiting for the first song to start, or while you're just standing there after you tune your bass and everything, you could sit there and do that exercise. Now, here's the second point I want to make. Create exercises. Not only do I do those little warm-ups, I might come up with something where I'm alternating fingers. So instead of going like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4, 3, 2, 1, instead of doing that pattern, I'll start trying to get my fingers to move a different way. So I may have 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. Those types of patterns. So and so taking little stuff like that and creating your own patterns for exercise. So again, what I just did there, it was a simple switching up the fingering of it. So 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, and back down. 4, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1. Right now, I'm not necessarily focusing on what it sounds like in terms of tonality or not necessarily tone, but it trying to sound like something musical. I'm not trying to be musical at this point. I'm focusing more on the technical part of making sure my hands are comfortable with moving and alternating type, patterns, not having the same pattern every single time, or taking one finger up and putting another finger down and that kind of thing. Making sure I'm comfortable with navigating around the fretboard and getting out of the box of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. So that's one thing that we can do, or you can take variations of that. So where you're going, that's another one that you can do, that you can take something like that again. So I'm taking second, first on the next string, and then I go fourth, third on the next string. Then I take it up to the next string and go second, same pattern, right? And then I can come down with the same thing. It's different, but that's the whole point. You're trying to get these hands to moving and get out of the same pattern, because if you're doing this all day Sunday, that's not much of a challenge for you. But now you get in there, okay, now that the brain has to work a little bit different, your hands have to move in a somewhat contrary motion, so it's going to make you start thinking a little bit more. But all these different things and coming up with your own exercises are going to be things that's going to help you build up endurance, speed, dexterity, all those types of things. And moving around the fretboard, don't just stay in. I know I'm kind of isolated right now in this little 5 fret pattern, but you can move all up and down the fretboard with these different exercises. And these are just things just for the sake of building speed, building endurance, and building dexterity. Now, I'm recommending 10 minutes. If you can push that, if you have the time in your day, you can push that and do at least 15 minutes of just those different exercises that we've talked about, including coming up with your own exercise. That's going to make a world of difference. One of the things I was going to make mention of as well. Now, also in addition to coming up with your own exercises, find a way to incorporate it into your groove. All right. So now if we're going I don't even know if it works, but we'll find a way to make it work. And that's how we stumble up on new ideas. So all I did there was took that last little exercise that we created. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. And here's the thing. Here's why you want to do that. Even if it doesn't sound good, you want to get your fingers to doing something different from what you've been accustomed to doing. You'll work out what needs to change. Okay, maybe I should have played a minor third, like instead of, maybe I should have played and spread it out a little bit. But the idea is to work it into what you're playing already. We just take a simple groove. Again, I'm in the key of A. And it doesn't have to be fast. Not at first. And so now I have a groove going. So let's see if I can maybe I can end on that flat 7 and make it work. That's the thing we're trying to do. How do I make this exercise work in what I'm doing? So again, my ultimate goal is to just try to work these patterns, work these different motions and stuff into what I'm doing, and listening. And this is going to be a different lesson, but listening for what you're playing and see how to make it work. Listen for it. Like, you're always doing ear training in this, even in the technical aspect of it. You're always trying to listen to see how you can actually make it work. And you come up with different variations. Trust me, this is what I've done for years and come up with all kind of stuff. People are, how do you sit there and come up with this stuff like this? I'm giving you the formula. This is it. So I encourage you guys to try that on your own time and see what you can come up with for yourself. And I can guarantee you it's going to definitely work on building your speed, your endurance. I've done this already, so it's not theory. I know for a fact that this will work if you will do the work. So that's pretty much it for this lesson. And again, I'm Jermaine Morgan. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit that thumbs up and give this video a like. Also hit that subscribe button if you're not already currently a subscriber of this YouTube channel. I bring videos like this all the time to help you to grow on your bass and ultimately unlock your sound. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next video. I'm out. Peace.